Your audio. So good. I was just like, oh, I better mute that channel because I just wanted to see.
Great Fortnite ad.
So what I'll do
I'm gonna
is
log in.
I'll wait till people come in and I'll drop that link. That's when we start. Yeah, so you can just if you pull the Twitch up, you can just watch the chat, but I get the chat from the YouTube and Twitch here. So if anyone asks any questions or anything, I'll be able to let you know.
Yeah. So 547216. I mute Twitch so I can't hear myself.
So you're amped about your club, the club buzz #1 with Danger Zone.
Yeah,
Was that
man.
a surprise, or do you feel like it was going to do well the whole time?
Yeah, it was still a surprise. It's like I kind of get excited for that kind of stuff, but at the same time, I'm always just wanting more. It's never enough. It's like yes,
What do you high in, like? What do you hold in high regard, like Beatport or Aria or?
yeah, Beatport's still definitely the high ranking one, but this record, like, I never pushed to be a Beatport track. Like, I
Hmm.
even originally told them not to even put it on Beatport, um, just because it's not a record for club DJs, you know, and the only things that do well on Beatport are club records.
Do you have like hopes to win a Grammy one day, or
For sure, I hope so. I don't know. I
never
actually
thought about it?
no. I have no hopes and dreams as a producer.
You're more like you want your DJ career to be your thing, like
no, no,
production's like
no,
something you love.
no. I reckon the other way around. Actually, no. Up until COVID, I thought that I wanted to just be a producer and not be a DJ. But
Hmm.
then when COVID hit, I realized how much I fucking need DJing.
Oh yeah,
Like
because it's part of your energy.
exactly, it's who I am. Like producing. I mean, being with people, socializing, partying, playing loud music, playing like getting aggressive in a nightclub. Yeah, so up until COVID, I actually thought like DJ was the secondary thing, but now I think they're kind of on par with each other.
Yeah, I think obviously you probably as starting up Need to Freak as well. It's just giving you that you're reminding that like you actually have a passion and a love for entertaining people
Yeah,
and
for exactly for entertainment. Yeah, I really do love entertainment. I'm just trying to get this other window to stay in front of this one. Dut, 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 dut. All right. Okay, so the chat's in front. Good there. Uh, but yeah, so anyone that's tuning in um, I'm gonna just work on a record with you, trying to find my groove and trying to show you how I can produce an idea and how to solidify that idea when you're from scratch. But I'll hold up just a little bit longer while me and Brock just talk about each other's hair.
talk about some smack.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you said, it's basically just going to be him starting off a song. Um, as watchers, you'll be able to sort of like guide it a little bit and help sort of tell him what direction you want him to go. But what he wants to do is try and show you at what points he gets to where he starts to feel like he's found something, and then how to capitalize and move forward from that position.
Yeah.
So I just dropped a link in the chat as well. So for those that are in there now, you can actually click on that and you'll be able to hear, because you won't be able to hear the audio of what he's making unless you're listening to that at the same time. But he'll still be talking you through it, but it's best if you actually click on that and you can listen to it at the same time.
So twitch.com/togetherau. Booyah. All right, sick. I just put a thing on Insta. Okay, sick. Um, But yeah, all right, I might just fucking start. So and I'm just going to work on a record. And
Yep.
if you've got any questions, or if anyone else has got any questions, just light it up. Talk to me. Let's go open that page again. All right. So me personally, I always start with a very, very basic drum groove to try and not have too much groove in it, so the bass line can kind of rule the groove, or tell me what the groove it's going to be like. So there we go. Just trying to find a nice kick. Yeah, I'll put this into that screen. That might make it a bit better. There you go. It's a nice kick. Pick a tempo that feels comfy. It's a little bit toppy. Can you hear that fine?
Yep. Coming through perfect.
Up some highs. All right, 6. So it's quite mid-rangey. One thing about, I guess, with my drums at least, I don't always try and find the perfect hat or the perfect kick or the perfect snare. I kind of find something that's almost spot on for me as far as energy. So this is a quick, snappy kind of kick drum. And now what I'll do is, without the EQ, that was it to begin with. What I'll do is I'll just keep fucking with it until I get it to sound the way I want it to. So now I've got it a bit more distorted with downsampling it, and then because it's getting a little bit too hectic, I will add another EQ. So pull it down. Always making sure that I'm not clipping. Now what I've got here is I've got kick, kind of the sample, get it to sound the way I like it, then fucking it up a little bit, and then pushing the lows. And then what's happening is when I'm pushing these lows here, it's then getting pushed into this limiter, which stops it from clipping and also adds, like, you can hear that color. So I'm just adding that some like bottom end color to get the kick nice and heckers. All right. Output from Logic isn't coming up. So when
it is, yeah. Just click. You must have missed the link as you dropped in.
Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, and when you open the link in Safari or whatever, make sure you click start listening before the audio will come through. All right, there you are. So for me personally, I have all my sound packs. Like I still use Splice a lot, but I have all my sound packs in a file organizer, and in here I can just write the word open hat, and so every single open hat in my computer pops up. Quick way to get through a fucking shitload of sound packs. And then what I've done is I've organized them all by length. So at the top, it's all going to be the shorter open hats towards the end, or longer open hats. So depending if my kick's short and snappy, I'm probably going to go for a short, snappy open hat. Just to keep everything, the energy together, which you can't hear these hats playing, but you'll hear it in a sec. All right. That's nice. So again, like I was saying, I don't spend a fuckload of time finding the perfect sample. I find a sample that's pretty damn close. Loud, but see how it's got, like, this is already super distorted and you can super compressed. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shape it, maybe a little bit shorter. I think I'm going to pitch it down just for semitone to try and make it seem a bit darker. All right, booyah. So like I was saying, I don't try and overcomplicate the beat before I start adding stems. So I'll try to just like this is it: kick, hi hat, maybe a clap. I'll add a clap just for some fun. But yeah, I don't overcomplicate my drums before I find my groove. The same way you should not overcomplicate your drums before you find your groove. So for some fun, I'm gonna go for a snap vibe rather than a clap because that's just my vibe. There we go. All right. All right. So the snap is a little bit pansy. So I'm just compressing it. So what I'm going to do again is I'm going to throw a EQ into the limiter. So what happens is again, it's really going to throw in whatever frequencies I'm pushing at the limiter. So it could be anywhere here. That's what's going to be slammed and compressed the most. And we're going to do something just rather random here. Okay, and I just need to get rid of some of this tail. And I might put it before the... What I'm doing here is I'm adding the clap just before the kick. So it's kind of coming in and it's kind of making the beat feel a little bit faster. And also this hat here, we could probably sharpen that up and yeah, fade it in. So what I'm doing is I'm keeping everything really nice and snappy, the same as the kick is. And then in this hat here, I've got a fade here to try it so the hat's not hitting exactly on the beat, but it's slowly hitting coming in, but it's still kind of short from this fade out here. All right. Yeah, so the whole point of this is I'm trying to say how to find your groove. And what I mean by that is how to work on a song until it sounds good enough to finish, rather than working on a song and then just chucking it in the bin.
So with your process, like where you've started here,
Yep.
is this generally how you'd always start
Yes.
a project?
Yeah. So I always start with a kick and a clap and a hat, or just kicking a clap or a kick and a hat, or maybe even no kicks. But I always put down the very fundamentals of what it means to be a dance record.
Yep.
To underneath, so I can build on top, and I'm not fucking with you know, I can't write music, I can't write chords, so I'm not going to start with an emotional thing. I'm starting with the least emotional thing of a record, for me at least, with the drums.
Yeah.
All right. So now what I'm going to do, you'll see this is me experimenting with music. As I said, I can't write music, so all right, we're going to start in E. Okay, so and then almost always I'll start with with initialized preset in Serum or another synth or anything that that I work in. Reason being is because I find myself, if I use the same preset that I've used in another record, then I'll end up trying to copy my own record, which I feel is a little bit lazy and uninspiring. But by the time I'm working through the record, I might get uninspired and not actually end up finishing it. I would have lost my groove. All right, so, but I suppose at the same time, I still go for the similar sound. So I go for this moogie, resonant kind of bass, because I guess that just reminds me of myself. But these exact parameters I probably may not have ever done before, so which makes it a little bit more original. All right, sick. I'm gonna go mono. Let's see, we'll add some shit to it. Let's see if we can add some fucked up shit to this.
So this is just you.
Finding my groove.
You've already got the pack in there, and then you're just readjusting what the chords are, what noise the chords are creating.
Yeah. So I've got initialized. So this is when you open up the synth. This is what it gives you. As simple, like, you know, that's just a sawtooth wave, as we'd call it. So what I've done is I've changed the shape through the envelope, and I've got the envelope talking to the filter, which what happens is it slowly, as you see this blue line, this blue dot, sorry, it slowly, as I press every key, the dot goes down. That's where the filter's moving. And then what I have in here in the effects, I have this LFO acting the same. It's very similar to what envelope 2 is doing, but it's doing it to the frequency of what the distortion is listening to. So I think you know, it's not advanced. Oh, I don't think it's advanced, but it's a different way to use a filter inside of Serum rather than just using this filter, which most people are using most of the time. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to press play. All right, so I like D, G, and F sharp. So, but I change the shape. All right. All right, see. All right. Well, now I will extend just the basic beat. So I've got a little bit longer just to record some notes in, and pretty much what I'm going to do is I record fucking whatever in there, and then I just work from, and then I find whatever was the best bit, and I grab it and I duplicate it, and then work from there. So, all right. All right, so get rid of that. All right, so I don't mind that. So what we're going to do is going to keep playing with it, and then we're going to fuck with the sound till it sounds right. All right. All right, so now I have found a groove that kind of sounds fun, and then all right, so now the bass line it's not quite, it's a little bit too long for the drums that we have here. So a way to try and get the bass line to come forward and match the drums a bit more. I'll just use a sidechain, and I use Kickstarter for almost everything because it's a very quick and easy tool rather than having to route kick drums through your shit. Ooh. Can you hear me breathing into this mic? Because it's like right under my.
Nah, only when you force breathe, you're all good.
All right, so just listening through my cans, it feels like there's just a bit too much sub bass in the actual bass. So that's another thing. Is as I'm working on records, I'm trying to perfect the groove the entire time. Like I'm trying to constantly work on the sounds. Until they match enough or until they fit enough. So, this bass line's most probably not going to be the bass line that this record finishes with, but it's about just finding grooves, finding something that feels fun, and just keep working and working, and then replace. For me, I replace things when they need to be replaced, rather than, fucking like I said, trying to find the perfect kick. Like the amount of time that you spend searching through kick drums, and 80 or 90% of them are pretty much the same kick drum with a different bit of processing on it. So it's like, you want a long kick drum or you want a short kick drum, or do you want a medium kick drum? Don't look for the fucking perfect one. It's a waste of your fucking time. Just get one and put it in there, start having some fun. And if any cunts have any questions, just ask. Like,
it's such a perfect lesson there that you've just sort of said, which is, and it's something that I think so many artists struggle with, is like finding that perfect beat or that perfect kick or that perfect hi-hat, or like they sit there and go through a 300 fucking pack, hi-hat pack, and as you said it, they're all basically close to each other, but they've just been changed, which you're going to go do anyway.
Yes.
9 times out of 10. So it's like you should just stick, as you said, stick something in and then work on that.
Stick it in and just
stick it in.
Keep whirling it around until it works. Oh fuck. And sometimes it's like,
that's just great advice. That's like the perfect advice that you can sort of a snippet.
And that's why I call this how to find your groove, because that's literally what I'm trying to say. It's like, don't overcomplicate shit. Just find your groove and work on the record until it's finished. Don't overcomplicate shit. But at the same time, I love overcomplicating stuff. So like, this is also a lesson I need to learn. So like, I'm here to teach myself. Also trying to get your each sound to do its own thing. So for instance, this this bass line, I've very, very rarely ever put a delay on my bass lines, but I feel like I'm experimenting. I'm trying to have some fun, so I'm going to put a delay on this bass line. I'm going to try and change the shape and color of the bass line with the delay, rather than trying to use what's inside Serum, because straight away it's everyone will be doing what's inside Serum, where if you use some different plugins, your shit's going to sound a little bit different to that and maybe sound original. So what I'm doing now, I've found the perfect amount of time between the bass notes for there to be, I don't know what, there's no timing because I've taken it off the timing, but whatever, 27 milliseconds of the bass line with 92 feedback. What that's doing now is I've got a nice delay, a nice length on the bass line, and then I'll put a ping pong on it. So what's happening is, with every I don't know fractions, but 27 milliseconds divided by something.
I'm a music producer, not a mathematician.
So now what I've done is I've ping ponged it through the headphones. Through the speakers. So now I've widened the bass, and so now the bass is actually taking up more room. So it's kind of doing something pretty unique. And then I'm EQing the top of the delay off, so it's not messing with everything else we have. And same with the bottom end. All right. All right, so I feel like it could have some more swing. So I'm just going to add some swing. Oh, that delay's a little bit nasty. There you go. Come on, mate. There you go. Might actually change it. So now that I've got a cool sound, I've got a cool little kind of chord progression. I've got it taking up some space and letting it do it some cool things. And now I'm putting an arpeggiator on it, and this is to try and experiment with a bit more movement and kind of getting the arpeggiator to do the I was going to say magician, no, not the mathematician, the musician, that trying to get the arpeggiator to do the fucking hell, the musician part of the sound for me. So what's happening here? So it's jumping up this different octave. It's jumping up an octave every now and then when the note goes for longer than two clicks, four. So this is without, and then with. It's actually starting on the upper octave and then going back down to the original note that I wrote. But that sounds vibey. So now what I'm going to do, so let's have a listen. So now I'm going to add the pitch bend. So I'm opening up Serum again. I'm going to add some more movement on the, the pitch bend. So I'm just going to try and add a little bit of more movement to the actual baseline notes. So a little bit of wobble. So what I did here, I'll just pull that up because it's a little bit hard to hear, but I mean, it's definitely there. Pitch bend. So what I've done, I'm just going to draw this back up. Again, so all these tiny little increments are just making this bass line sound like it doesn't sound like a bass line that you've heard in every other record. Because I really suck at copying shit. So you can hear that. It's happening. This one's going to be a little bit longer. It's happening.
Did sorry, just to interrupt there for a second. When you initially started, is copying beats something you did to sort of figure out, like when you were first making music?
Yeah, for sure.
Where you were trying to like copy stuff just to see if you could get to that sound?
Fully, yeah. No, I still think copying records is like part of like the process of being a producer, because how are you going to learn how to write your own favorite songs if you can't produce the sounds of your favorite songs? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like it is definitely still a huge part of it is like copying records and finding inspiration. So for me personally, what I've always done is if I have to write a song that's in a certain world or vibe or whatever, I'll just spend that entire morning listening to that kind of music, and even if it's out of my comfort zone, even if it's pop music, I'll go listen to that music all that morning. So what happens is when I go into the studio, my ears are kind of already tuned to trying to produce like music sounds that sound like that stuff, because I'm kind of been enjoying it for the morning.
Yeah.
So especially like if I'm writing a track where like drums the most important thing, I'll probably listen to some Kate Renata or something like that, where groove,
Find some inspiration
for the drum track, where like if it's me, if it's me just being me in the studio with no fucks given, I'll not listen to any music. I'll just come in here, and
Make some
produce
dark shit.
and like right now, like I have no idea what I'm writing, but I'm just doing the tricks that I would always do to try and write
Find,
a record.
yeah, get yourself in a position where you feel like a record might come from it.
Yeah, exactly.
We just had a question in here as well from Will, young Will.
Young Will.
Hey Wongo, how long were you producing before you released your first track?
Not long enough. I released my first record way before I probably should have. I wasn't a very good producer. I just kind of just I was writing like Fidget House, which was before Fidget House got big. And what the problem was is because it kind of blew up and all these blogs were posting about music, I put the record out and signed it and put it on Beatport way before I was even ready. But the first time I put out a record that I was happy with was probably like 4 years. Even it took me like, it probably took me a year of just learning Logic before I even finished a record.
Yeah, that's like I think the question's more aimed, yeah, like at the point that you felt like you were strong enough to make music, and then how long from that point. So what you're saying is about 3 years.
Yeah, it probably took me 3 years to be able to write a record that I actually would put on my put on a CD and put in a CDJ and actually play.
Yeah.
But still, when I played it against other records, it fucking sounded terrible. It's like it was still it was still sucked because I didn't understand EQ and mixing and bass. Or just
You had no sound training,
I
basically.
had no sound training. So yeah, so it's like I think you should just write music for as long as you possibly can. And when you're DJing in a club and your tracks are starting to keep the same energy or keep a dance floor, then it's probably time to release some records.
Yeah, for sure.
How long we stance on using samples, mate? I fucking love samples. I'm a sample king. Like I was saying, you might not have been here before. I've got this mutant app on my Mac, and what happens is I've got every single sound pack I have in here organized. And so what happens is I just might write, you know, poo. I'm going to write poo and see if any samples come up. So, like, if I'm writing a track about poo, I'm just going to try and find samples that remind me of poo. And, ooh, that one says, eat me with a spoon. I'm going to put that in the record. So yeah, I use samples. I use loops. I use top loops mainly. I don't really use a lot of full loops. I cut up loops a lot. So I'll do it right now just to find something. It's 140 BPM. It's probably a bit fast. 1 second. Here, I'll move this to the screen so you can see what I'm doing. One of my favorite packs.
Is that drunk 128?
Yeah, I've got the
great folder.
Here, who remembers this record? Hold up. Oh, you won't be able to hear it. Hold up. Here, I'll just drop it in. It's like a Riva Star record that was fucking massive like years ago.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Great tune. Great tune. Yeah, so like all the samples, all the remixes, anything I've done over the last 5 or 10, 12 years of producing is in this folder. So, like I've got Chris, what was it? Chris Brown 3, yeah, 3x3 remix pack, and I've got his stems for the track. So I actually released a record on Club Sweat last year, and the main sample on it was from Is This Year 3 vocal. So mate, I use fucking plugins. What are they called? I use sound loops all the time. So here, top loops. Here you go. That's it. I'm just trying to find something with lots of shit in it. Here we go. It's got lots of hats. So usually when I'm using loops, I won't just usually drop it in like this and play it. The old spoony trick. Anyway, so those hats are actually quite nice. Actually, already I can feel like that bit here needs to be it needs some more hats. I might like chop it in. Then we've got like a so those like I'm just changing up the groove a little bit. I'm gonna Is there any more questions before? Because I'll get super deep.
There's just Napolis is just talking about getting out of the habit of using Splice.
Yeah. Yeah, I reckon Splice is a fucking rabbit hole because you search. Yes, it does take a long time to search and find shit that actually works. I reckon Splice is best not so much for searching for the way I use it is wrong because I always like root search hats or open hats and I'm trying to find the perfect hat again. It's just a waste of time. But Splice is good when you just go to a specific pack to do with a specific sound or energy and going through that one pack and finding lots of different samples from that one pack and putting.
Oh, lost your audio there, bud. Your internet's dropping out. I got your audio. You're moving. Yeah, you're good again.
Okay, fuck. Yeah, so like this mutant thing is kind of my version of Splice, but I know kind of where to go. So this one is like drum code. It's all like super techno-y sounds, even though it's called MMED drum fucking blah blah blah. I I know that I know where the sounds that I like are, so it doesn't take me long to put them together. But Splice, it is a different. It definitely like can send you down a rabbit hole. I've never used presets. I know Splice is really good for presets to find sounds that sound like other people's records, but I've never gone down that track because I think it's just again playing around in a synth until you make a sound that you like. I think is quicker for me than going on a search for like the perfect preset.
Yeah, I think that sort of covers it really.
Presets versus sound design.
Sound designing, yeah, it's sort of same conversation.
Yeah, so yeah, for me personally, sound design, I choose sound design every single time. So like if you were here before, I started with initialized preset in Serum and I just keep fucking with it until I'm happy with it. And usually, it's usually with a sawtooth because I mean, at least as far as bass, because it's quite textured and still has some nice sub to it in Serum. But yeah, I choose sound design almost every single time. Very, very rarely will I actually I've got all these packs in here in Serum, but hybrid trap effects. Like I don't fucking need hybrid trap effects. I've just got this shit from sent to me from somebody, but I don't really go through it.
Hmm.
But maybe one day I'll make some hybrid trap. Who knows? Okay, so yeah, so like I was saying about loops, I'll usually go pretty gnarly on it. So like, for instance, I'll open up Guitar Rig and I'm going to add some presets. Yeah, see, like that's pretty fucking weird. And so I'll bounce that out. So now what I'm doing is I've got the original hat loop here, and then I've got the same hats, but with all this weird shit on it. And now when I play them together, but now all of a sudden I'm using the loop and its little transients and stuff that's creating, makes it sound the way it is. But I've made it sound original and my own way straight away by fucking with it, And I can even probably turn the original hats down now. Let's turn the bass line on mute. That's actually a pretty good cool groove. I wish I could know. Let's see what those. So okay, and here's again about finding your groove. So now I think that groove is cooler than my bass line. So now what I'm going to do. So C C C C C C C C C B. So now I'm going to duplicate my bass, leave the other one on mute, and to go. Oh, I've got to turn the up off. So I think it actually goes down to an A, but I'm going to go. Now the hats. So that from a random loop that I've added in, I've now naturally wanted to write a new bass line that suits the hats because the hats were cooler than my bass line. So, like I was saying about trying to find my groove, like I'm constantly fucking trying to change shit. Didn't record in either, so that. So what I'm going to do, instead of going down to the A, we're just going to put a pitch bend. Put it 0. So put it up. Actually, that's the wrong serum, so that's not doing anything to the sound. So I've got to open up the right serum. A lot of my time is wasted on playing with fucking plugins that aren't even open. A lot of them. So it's a little bit out of key. Yeah, so like I said, now, do I use loops? Yes, I fucking do. Now I've got a cool loop, I've got a cool loop, I've got a cool bass sound, and I've also got a cool hat groove. And straight away, because I've copied everything groove-wise, now, I've got something super original and, that I wasn't expecting to create. 2 seconds ago, the record sounded like this. Just like that. Hold up. So, I really like this, but it sounds exactly like another Wongo record that I could make a different day. So, I'm more vibed on that than I was the other thing. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate the bass and I'm going to try and build. Let's just say this is the. Let's just say this is going to be like the first drop kind of thing. I'm going to try and fuck with what's here, and I'm going to start playing with the preset. So I've got the bass, and then I'm going to have a lead on top doing something similar. So take off that delay, take off the Bit Crusher, take off the Kickstarter. All right, then we're going to I'm going to put that on there. So what I'm doing now is I am adding a macro to the decay, and what that means is as I'm playing with this knob here, this little lead is going to open up its shape. So it's going to become shorter and longer. And so, like I was saying about sound design, I'm kind of making it a lead. So this lead is pretty much just my bass line up 2 octaves. I've changed the filter setting slightly, and then I'm changing the shape of it with the decay. So, I'm not creating some new shit every single time I produce. I'm like constantly just trying to make what I have there already a little bit better. All right, so I'm going to record this in. So we're going to add.
We're just got another question here. What was the hardest part of production for you to master, or something you struggled with at the start? I suppose like your biggest, that's the like the biggest thing you struggled, your biggest struggle.
Finishing a record. I reckon finishing a record was the hardest thing because I like to be creative, and I like it's not fun to fucking make a 30-second idea into a 5-minute record. Like that's not fun. It's still not fun. I just like writing. I like experimenting and playing with music. So the hardest bit is trying to get 30 seconds to sound exciting for 5 minutes. I guess so.
Yeah, it's like anyone can create an 8-bar loop and go, "That's sick," and then it's like, okay, well, now where does it go?
Yeah, the hardest thing is, I guess, the better answer is like arrangement is definitely like the hardest thing I think is becoming a producer, because keeping it simple is the key. But what we're told is when we're writing a record is to keep, every 30 seconds something new has to come in, then in the next 30 seconds something else new has to come in, then when the final drop comes in, it's got to have something so big and new that it's like it keeps the dance floor happy. Like, that's kind of like the mentality of writing a record, but it's not really so much the case. So for instance, with my record Dance All Day, um, it's the same bass line with the same bits on top, um, through all three drops. The only thing that I add in the last drop is an extra hi hat or a fucking cowbell, or it's a different perk. It's like, instead of trying to create new exciting things on top, I just added a new percussion instrument because I felt like the bed of what was already there was good enough to carry on. So what I did with that record, I created 30 seconds. It sounds really
Yeah.
good. The next 30 seconds, I actually took something out and I replaced something. And I know, so then I put the vocal in, and then I played it again, and then I took the vocal out. Then I put it. The next 30 seconds has the vocal in. The next 30 seconds has the vocal out. So kind of all I did was I wrote two sections, and I just swapped them in and out, in and out. But within that, I muted things. So, at one point it's just the kick, the vocal, and a riser. And that, but all those three things have happened in the record before, but not just those three things together. So I reckon it's just finding what's good about the record, muting the shit bits, or muting the bits that aren't important. So every now and then, every minute or 2 minutes, whatever, you can have the main bits just championing the record, I guess.
Yeah, and then we just had another one. At what point did you go fuck it and just release something? I've got a bag of probably 300 half completed songs, some great, some not. Hard to get a real opinion. A question. It's an age old question. Like, and I get this from a lot of artists in Together Agency as well. Is like, should I just release? At what point are you just sitting on too many tracks and you should just start finding out
Yeah,
whether the public like them or not?
yeah, it's a hard question because you shouldn't give a fuck what anyone else thinks about your music. At the end of the day, the amount of demos we get at Box of Cats, and they're sick records, and they're not suited to us, and so those people get discouraged and they put them in the bin and they don't ever release them, or it's like they've just, like, you should. There's almost always a home for every record that you write. It's finding the right home.
Especially like and that's something I try and communicate a bit, and I don't know whether you'd agree with it, but it's sort of along the same lines of what you're saying. Is and especially now, there's more record labels than ever.
Yeah,
More, as you said, more homes than ever, more ways that you can release music than ever, more
there's
ways to build
always ways.
fans. It's like sometimes you
Okay,
should just
okay.
take the chance and release
Also,
the music.
like, let's just say it's your first release. You're a local DJ at a club, but you haven't started touring. You haven't got an agent. You haven't got all of this stuff. Let's just say that you're at the very beginning, and you've got some tracks and you want to release them. The people who are most likely going to hear that song is not fucking Tiesto or some cunt. It's gonna be your local friends, your local family, the people in the club that you talk to. They're the people who are going to be listening to your music. So what are their expectations of your first song? They don't have expectations. So if you release a song and say, "Hey, motherfucker, this is my first track. I've put it out. I hope you like it." The only people who are going to go listen to it are your friends and stuff, that are only going to make you feel good about it. You're not going to have all these people critiquing you saying, "Mate, you shouldn't have put that record out." Like, they don't know the difference between good production. Like, the audience don't really know the difference between good and bad production. So it's like, you're better off just pleasing your audience, pleasing yourself, getting a record out there and having fun. And then as you get a better producer and you make contacts in the industry, you're going to be sending those records to bigger places, and they're going to get released in bigger places who have a wider audience. And slowly you're just widening your audience, but at the same time you haven't, like, cut your own neck by not releasing, because you never, like, how are you going to make those steps forward if you don't take a first step in the first place?
Yeah,
I guess, that's kind of a fair way to sum it up.
100%.
Yeah. So okay, where are we? Let's just... All right, so we're fucking with this little thing. All right, so why is that going meow, blah blah? That little thing there, we don't want that. All right, so groove's a bit funny. So we're going to set this like that. There we go. And then pro. Why is that not there? So, and can I put an LFO on that? I don't think I can. No. Can I put that on an LFO? No, I don't want that. Okay. So, so I'm going to learn this parameter. So I'm going to I'm going to make that to K, and then I'm going to learn this. Hold up. Delete those. Learn this. Thank you. So now what happens, I've got my, if you can see on my camera, I've got, no, you can't really see, but I've now looped the parameter here. So I can physically play the decay. So it's too long. Okay, you got to turn some of this off. So it's cool little kind of little groove sound. So what we could actually do is add a delay onto this, a different delay than the other one. So we're going to initialize this full reset. So it's cool. So play this with the bass line. So what we do is just adding some like texture. So it could actually be.
It's funny, even you just starting like a tune out of nothing, you still managed to find your sound inside it all.
I know, because I'm always using the same tricks. I've been using the same tricks for years. And like I like pitch bends, I like delays, I like moving bass lines, I like fucking chunky kicks. Like you don't see me writing the XX kind of music because I just don't get it. Like it's just not in my heart to be a soft cunt.
and for you, like what I suppose another question that would just come out of that is like, how did you just start to realize different things that you liked, or did you find, or was it that you found them easier, so you just sort of went that way?
Nah, I feel like as far as sound design, I chose a sound design that hasn't got any YouTube videos. Like I definitely chose like a tough path. But in saying that, I feel like your ears take you where you want to go. Like that's kind of like you will naturally do what you want to do. It's like that just makes me happy, making weird shit. So like that's just kind of just what I always do. Hold up, rather than copying that MIDI up there, I think it's actually cool if I do some. Might be able to find some weird shit like that. Anyway, so I'm constantly experimenting with weird things, which makes my music weird. Where like if some people are like, no, I need to write a rolling bass line, so they just sit there until they've figured out a nice rolling bass line. So I'm just not that guy. There we go. So I'm just going to have here's something rolling. All right, so that should fit nicely on top with the bass. And we're going to open it up a little bit. All right, so now I've recorded that in. So what I did there was I put lots and lots of notes. I have a little bit of swing on them. I recorded in the pitch bend going digga 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 digga. And then so then really, if we want to play with this more, we could go. So that's actually a pretty cool lead. So at the start of the record, it could be. little, in. So, and this is about saying like not overcomplicating your arrangement. So, halfway through the record, then you could be, and then towards the end of the record, it could be, or could be, so rather than trying to like add new exciting things every time, just what have you got there and what can you do to it to make it sound even more exciting?
Yeah, it's like start with the easiest process first
Yes,
before.
exactly. Before adventuring into finding the new biggest siren sound at the end of your song because everyone else has fucking sirens. Right? All right, so and then from here, I kind of like this whole thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bounce it into audio, and what I'm going to do from there is I'm going to see what else I can do with it. So first I'm going to make it mono because the other one's spread, so I don't want it to kind of clash too much spatially. And then I'm going to, let's put a filter on it. So we'll put some like weird kind of filter on it. And what we're going to do here, we're going to go, nah. And now again, with the same sound that we had before, I'm creating a new sound. Again, not overcomplicating what I've already got, but I'm now adding to the same vibe. So now with this other sound, if I can get my fucking window to, something's going wrong with my mouse. Mute. Wow. Now I've got this sound and also playing together. So now it's like thicker, it's got more texture, it's more unique. Constantly building on the idea to making it sound better and better every time. I don't like that clap anymore, so that clap's gone. So, now, but see how I created a basic beat just to start building some bits, and now that I'm like, no, that clap sucks. I'll just delete the entire clap out of the project, and I know that the track needs a clap or a snare or something. So, like I said, don't get hung up on finding the perfect sample. Just keep building and building, and then as you're getting through the record, you'll find what doesn't work and start getting rid of it and replacing it. And this needs a nice side chain on it, but not that one. So yeah, we'll do the same thing with here. If anyone's got any questions about actually specifically like sound design things, like how to make things, like I'm not very good at copying and like saying, oh, how do you make the sound out of this song? Like I can't really do that. But what I could do is like, if you're saying how do I make a lead sound or how do I make a bass or how to add atmosphere to records, like ask those kind of questions because that's kind of the shit that I enjoy as far as experimenting. Yeah, so even this one. So I'm going to go something weird. So with this one, we're going to do something funny. We've added a filter, then we've added some sidechain, and now I'm going to add something weird. I'm going to add some delay to this. Down, 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 down. Oh, this is nice. So even what I might do is I might send this one a little bit out there. This one. So what I'm doing is I'm slightly panning different sounds. So it's creating a different energy in the left and right speaker, but only just so it's not overbearing for the listener. Let's listen to old bass line just to make sure that the old one wasn't better. Ooh. Now I can hear a different lead, but I still like the new one better. So this is going to be the intro. So let's just say, cool. I've got a cool little groove. Like this is definitely isn't my best record, but that's beside it kind of defeats the purpose of what this is about. This is finding your groove.
You found something now that you feel like you could work on.
Yeah, I found something that I feel like I could work on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start arranging it a little bit more. So let's just say 8 bars. Okay. I'm probably not going to start with it. I'm probably not going to start with the bass line in the track. So I like this sound though. And that's just going to be my intro for now, right? So I'm going to say 8 bars of intro, and I'm going to say, okay, so from here, I'm going to want to bring in a new sound. So, just got all the shit on mute that doesn't need to be in the record in the intro. And then I'm going to add in some more perks. So, for one, that hat loop that we added before. It's a little bit chopped out before the kick, the loop starts, but that's a good thing. So it sounds different. So now I'm just trying to find some claps. 1 second. See, and if the other thing is does the track get stuck in your head? Kind of sounds like a nursery rhyme. So it's nursery rhymes win all the time. Oh, this is like a bit sloppy. I like sloppy. I reckon my mouse is broken. I need a new mouse. All right, so it's completely out of time, but let's have a look. Pull it into time. So I'm going to say something like that. Yeah, and so what's that like with the clap? Yep, I like that. So, and like this sample, that's like 5 different claps in one sample. So, kind of making my job easier. A lot of the time, I will stack a bunch of claps together to make my own stacked clap, but I also have packs called
stacked clap packs.
The stacked clap packs, and so they already pre-stacked claps. So I mean, why stack your clap if you don't need to? I thought you could only catch the clap, but you can definitely stack clap. Hey. So now that I'm listening to it, I'm kind of in my head. I'm like trying to feel the energy of like where.
Woo!
Yeah. So let's straight away. I go straight to my Chris Brown vocal pack, and I'm just like, "Yep, this is definitely going to fit this."
Yeah, 3 times, man, straight in there. Just drop it in.
But we all have this eat my ass with a spoon. What did it say something before? See, great vocal. But not for this record. I feel like I'm looking for like a humming or something. So what I'm going to do is in my, I'm going to search the word hum. I don't know if hum is double M or
Hummer.
Hummer.
Humming crickets. Here we go.
See, what I'll do is I'll play the record and I'll play this humming crickets at the same time. Where is it? Nah, this sucks. All right. So see, this is a great show of like when a word doesn't work. So hum doesn't work. Breath. How about breath? I'm sure I've got lots of breath. Yeah. So honestly, like it's like track. What track did I fucking write with Billy Kenny? The first song I wrote with him, I can't even remember what it's called. It's called Buzzsaw. And what we did was we just searched all my samples for things called buzz or saw, and so we built the kind of atmosphere and stuff underneath the track with buzz and saw sounds, and it ended up, you can barely hear them in the record, but it's kind of like an atmosphere underneath. Um, ooh, I like that. I like that. It's quite weird. Um, you can't hear shit, so but that clap is fucking out of time. Weird. I yell like that. What about you, Brock? Do you have any questions for me?
I'm asking it as I go, man. I'm asking as I go. I just don't. There's like no point in me asking certain questions because it's like I'm not a producer, so
I would love you to ask me producer questions.
because
Try and
it's like I don't know anything about the program, so I'm like, that's cool. The one thing I was going to ask is like, so when you're playing around with the sound design in Serum or whatever plugin you're using, do you generally, because obviously you've been using how long you've been using for now, 10, 12 years?
Yeah, since 2010, somewhere there.
So 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years.
I think we talked about this privately one time.
Yeah.
It's where, do you know where you're going inside that, or are you just fiddling? Like,
Yeah, I'm almost always.
you're looking for a sound, or you just like going, I wonder what this will get me.
I feel like I always don't know, but at the same time, like if like I said, like if I have to write a specific specific genre for the day for someone or something, I will be. I definitely try harder at trying to find what I'm, without fucking around. If I'm working, the thing is, when I'm working on my own time, I have no time frame. I could work on the song all day, and if I get just 5 seconds of gold, that's fine. Where if I'm working for somebody else, that's their time that I'm spending.
Yeah, so you don't want to like sound design too much because you're like,
yeah, because really
now I'm just doing it for myself rather than
doing it for myself. Yeah. So like if I am working for other people, I definitely do keep it in a little bit. But at the same time, the records I write for other people aren't as good as mine, and why I say that is not because I think my records are
weird
good.
flex, but okay.
Fucking loser. What I mean by that is I don't put my heart into it.
Yeah.
I don't have.
You don't have the time because you just can't spend the time you want.
I can't make it create in my head. It's not a creative record. I'm making less creative stuff because that's what I'm being paid to do. Where what a fuckhead, eh?
We're clipping this and putting it everywhere. No one's ever paying you money to make another track.
I don't put my heart into any of your records. But it's
I get what you're trying to say 100%. It's tough when you are on the clock.
Person.
When you're on the clock, creativity goes out the window.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Like I always find as a creative person, when I'm stuck completely, I just leave everything, and like sometimes I'll just go lay in my bed and sit there and fiddle or like shut my eyes, and what you're looking for will come to you, but you can't obviously do that on someone else's dime at the same time, because there's otherwise they're like going to come into your house and go, what are you doing laying in bed, motherfucker?
Yeah. Yes. So like
I'm trying to find inspiration. You're not finding inspiration with your eyes shut.
But the other thing is you also can't, like, that's another thing. Like I read like a thing from Kid Kenobi once. It was like his big it was like a blog post on, I can't remember what website, but he was kind of saying, don't wait for inspiration. Don't say, oh, I'm going to start this remix tomorrow. I'm going to start this track tomorrow because today I'm not really feeling it. Like just sit in the studio and try. And and even if you fuck around for half an hour before you get starting to get in the mood, just keep trying and trying and create your own inspiration.
It's definitely something and I think it's probably from one of our first chats initially when we had all the talent together and you came in and spoke to everyone. It was like the biggest thing I've always tried to push for artists, and it's definitely something that artists have agreed, like bigger producers like yourself have agreed with, is like you want to be you want to be a music producer, you got to treat it like a job.
Yeah.
So don't just sit around going, I'll think about making a track, I'll think about doing this. You need to dedicate time to sitting in front of the computer, even if you are just so shot for ideas. You need to just sit and even do what you were doing, which is just like, oh, I found this clap. Like add a plug and see what happens.
Yeah, honestly, like nothing is, just, it doesn't have to be awesome. Like out of this track right now, what I think is the win is that I've got this really cool,
something you created from something, from the initial sounds that you put in. Eventually you got to that one loop where you were like, ooh.
Yeah, so I think right now, I think the kick's not right, the hi-hat's not right, the clap's probably not right, the leads are probably not right, but those things here is good, and that's something. These are sounds that I will work on after this session. So it's like, find the good bits, like find your groove. It sounds so cliche to say that now. Find like what creates your groove, and just have fun and keep working on it.
So I think, like leading back to the, like as that initial why we're here tonight, is that something, like you've, as you said, you basically, as we're both saying, you basically force yourself to create those 3, 4, 5 initial beats that's then finally led you to the loop. What is it? There's the 2 loops you've got stacked there that you now?
Which is really just the same one loop, but I've added shit to it.
So
it's kind of, I've got one loop with some weird things on it, and then I've got a bass line with some weird things on it.
And out of that, like out of this whole track, you've gone, okay, because I was doing the rest of the work, I've found this one thing that I love. Now I know I can use this. And when I find that bass line that I like, or
and the other thing is, I'm creative at 7 a.m. till 12 p.m. Like that's my I do my best work very early in the morning. So me sitting at the computer at 9:15 at night, this
you're starting to get tired.
I'm not waiting for the inspiration. I'm creating the inspiration. You're just sitting here until you find your groove. I'm honestly gonna, like, every time I see you now, I'm just gonna talk about finding our groove. Fucking hell.
No, but it's a perfect example, as you said. Like you've basically in what was 45 minutes to an hour. Well, really, I mean, you found that loop in the first 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Is you've taken 30 minutes of time to like create something that is pretty basic,
but unique, and I like.
And then out of that, you've found some sounds that you now were like, oh, if I could tweak these a little bit more, or I can keep them exactly, but there's something I would use.
Exactly.
And you can scrap the rest and not, no more about it.
Yeah. I'm not, my heart's not connected to the rest of it. My heart is connected right now to the bits that I hear that I like. Yes. So yeah, it's weird. I mean, fuck. It's just trying to have fun and don't be stressful. Don't make it a stress. I just read this. How many tracks do you normally use for a project? I'm fucking bubbled when I see people with 80 to 100 tracks for one verse. Just me. Nah, I used to use a fucking shit ton of channels for a track. But I probably actually, I probably still do 80 tracks. But what I do now is I'm always constantly not compressing. What's it called? Consolidating sounds. So like, once I'm happy with something, I'll bounce it to audio. Like, or if I've got like a bunch of hats that sound good, I'm just going to bounce them all together. So then I've got, instead of 5 different hat stems, I've got one hat stem. And so I'm constantly consolidating things. When I send things to get mixed, I probably still have like, I don't know, 20 stems, which is still, quite a lot. But some techno records are just 3 stems and just fucking bing bang boom.
So out of this now, where would you go? Open your email. So let's just say you were at home, you were trying to find your groove. Yep. You've now found something you want to use. What would be your next step from here?
Yeah, so kind of I've started to do here is arranging
Would you
ranging it.
continue to would you continue to try and arrange the track and then change the sounds as you're going? Like just keep the same
Yeah,
track.
I would try and so let's just say like these 4 bars here, we like it. It's great. That's probably going to be the first drop. So what I've done is I've muted the things that we don't need, and and for the intro, it's just going to be a kick, a hi hat, and introducing like this sound down here is now introducing people to the groove. So when let's just say for a breakdown, it's just going to be this sound. Rather than overcomplicating and creating more sounds, this breakdown is just going to be this sound, and it's just going to get more and more hectic. Yeah, like So all I'm doing is I'm changing parameters rather than creating new sounds, and then it would be like, oh my god, eat my ass with a spoon, yeah, 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 and then it's just like, and it's just
But that's all you
whoops.
need.
Yeah, and then and that's how you create a track. Now I've got a track with a kick, a hi-hat, a groove, and a bass line, and just with that, I can make an intro, a breakdown, and a first drop, just with 4 of the sounds that I've added into the project. And then let's just say after 30 seconds of drop, the track's starting to get like, okay, fuck, I'm bored, or you want to make sure that the dance floor stay interested. That's when you start adding in your hats and your clap, and then it's like, okay, but that's not quite enough to keep everyone interested. So you might add in this thing. We've just got to make it a bit louder. So yeah, like I've spent half an hour writing 10 sounds that go well together, and then my job is to arrange it for as long as I possibly can without having to create anything new. Just recycling the sounds that I've already got to keep the same sounds interesting.
Yeah. Do you like? I know a lot of producers definitely uh work on the less is more motto and try and stick by that. Do you?
Well, fuck. Actually, I'm going to open this other project. So yes, almost always, but I'm working on a track right now with Tony Romero. And so I was going to call this sick random bass groove together. So, and I'm really good at naming my I'll put this in. Where is it called? Yeah, that was the right one. So I'm really good at naming my projects. So this one's sick random bass groove together. I won't
Mhm.
forget what that means, especially because it says bass. That's a giant orange in my screen. What was funny? I was on Google yesterday and I accidentally right clicked on an image and set it to my desktop. So I was like, why the fuck I didn't even know you could right click on a picture in your browser and it changes it to your desktop picture. Anyway, and so then
You've just haven't used computers for that long, except for producing music.
yeah, I don't use Google. What's Google?
Yeah.
So yeah, now I've got a nice orange stuck in the middle of my screen. I was kind of surprised to see you bounce those. Yeah, I almost always bounce everything to audio. So this project that I'm working on at the moment, which I'm going to, people have to click on this new link, this new audio link to listen. So with this track, this is definitely not a less is more track. This is a more is more track. And can I post this in the chat?
Yeah. Yeah, you can. You can post a link straight in. With the other transmission, does that record? Like, or can we save that? Because I was just thinking about that because I was
Oh
like,
fuck! No, it's done. She's gone. It's just a live feed.
All
right, so
that's gonna suck for reposting,
That
unfortunately.
would definitely suck for reposting. It doesn't make any sense. No, I was gonna say, nah, I'm done. It's done. Sorry. She gone. My projects are either what does it say there? My projects are either there's like a little click to reply thing in the way I can't read it. Called Untitled. Yeah, fuck, exactly. That's what I mean. Because also the left goes from yeah, that's exactly what they're all called. This one's called Romero Audio Track. So it's just to tell me it's the Romero track. It's the audio version and it's project. So anyway, so this track here, this is a track that I kind of got stuck with and I couldn't produce anymore. I got to the point where I wasn't inspired to finish it, which is kind of against everything I'm saying in this whole talk. But it's a collab, so it was okay. I'm allowed to kind of let it go, and someone else can produce it. But in this one, so the drums are fucking. There's so many drum stems in here, but I've got them all. There's like 4 different drum loops there. You know, more open hat. So I've bounced everything because for ease, you know. So there's 2 drum loops there. And then goes to 2 completely different drum loops. You know what I mean? Bouncing is fun because once you've bounced it, that's it. You can't do heaps and heaps of different things to it. You've like made a decision. Yep, I want this into audio. I'm not gonna fuck around trying to find more drums. But yeah, so with this track, it's funny. I actually had a vocal sample. I think it's this one. So I sent Tony Romero this vocal stem, and I said, "Oh, I think we could make a cool track out of it." And what he actually did was he got the audio, like changed that the vocal sample into MIDI, and then so he actually it's the exact same notes as the vocal. So when you drop this vocal on top with the bass line, and straight away, it's just everything stays in groove. So, you know, so there's all he kind of produces the same as I do in that aspect. Like, you don't have to write a full new bass line for every record. Like the vocal had a cool groove to it, has some cool kind of changes in the notes. So he just changed it to MIDI, and and then that's the track. But yeah, so with this track, I went crazy on like the effects and that kind of stuff. So which is why I'm saying like the less is more thing. To have a listen to this weird shit I did in this. But like, that's it. But again, so like it's like, oh fuck, that sounds so crazy, and it's on top of the bass. Like, what? How did you make that? Blah blah blah. Really, all that is the bass line pitched up like 4 semitones. I put a arpeggiator on it, and what I did was I turned the arpeggiator on and off while I was recording. And so what that did was that made lots of like stabby quick notes, and then every now and then when I wanted it to be long notes, I turned the arpeggiator off, so then it let the notes play out longer, and then I turned the arpeggiator back on, and it's played more stabby notes. So I'll play it again. So yeah, and then I compressed it and did some weird shit to it. But it's just the bass line manipulated. So I didn't have to create new stems just to
Yeah, you've just used what you had at hand already.
Yeah, exactly. Which is all I do. Just lots and lots of copying myself. And then so then he added this so it's pretty much the exact same bass but with a filter on it. So so right now, so the 3 main bits of this song, right, is the vocal, or it's 4. So there's the vocal, the bass line, and then the 2 leads on top. So and all of those things are the exact same MIDI, doing different things. So it's like it straight away makes everything gel together, and we haven't had to recreate the wheel constantly throughout the record.
Oh.
And again, so we're coming to the final drop, which this is where I struggled. I couldn't make an exciting final drop. But really, so this final drop at the moment is just a simpler version of the first drop. So rather than trying to build and make more exciting things, we've stripped it back and just let it kind of chug and do its own thing. And then I bring the clap back in. And again, so like all these sounds here that I created, these little, all that is me again with the bass line, adding a delay and just playing with all the different fucking knobs at the same time and pressing record at the same time. Do you mix and master your own tracks? Yeah, no. Yes and no. Depends. If I think I can, I do. But a lot of the time, if I'm too close to the project, I get somebody else to do it because I feel like I'm not going to make the right decisions. So Klaus masters all my tracks. I do my own like home masters for when I'm like DJing. If I haven't finished a track, I'll master it and play it out. Um, but mixing when it comes like if it's a big vocal track and I'm just like I just can't get it to sound professional enough, I get Klaus to mix it. He's like my go-to guy for everything. He is the man, Klaus Hill. Um, anything else you want to know? Any other questions? Like, so one more slightly unrelated question. I know you're after sound design shit, but I must ask, where do you get the most brutal opinions of your tracks? Which is, um, where do I get the most brutal?
Yeah, like constructive opinions, constructive criticism, but the
Yeah,
most honest constructive criticism.
I have certain friends that don't sugarcoat stuff, and that's like it takes years to find those people because you have to find somebody who understands music for one, and also
You have to value their opinion, number
and
one.
you have to value their opinion, and you have to and they have to understand you as an artist, and they also have to understand the music that you're writing. You know, like if I sent my record Danger Zone to Little Fritter, and he's like, "Look, track's produced fucking great," but he goes, "I fucking don't like it," and you know, and that's because that's not a record he would ever listen to or like in a normal thing. So he wasn't the right person to ask for feedback on the record. Um, so but I've got people that do understand my music and that I go to all the time, like Caleb Crinus, Go Freak, him and Russ, who also used to be part of Go Freak. They were kind of always like my go-to guys to send like my weird music to because they kind of write weird music, and you know they would tell me if something was worth you know um, keeping or if it needed a new bass line and that kind of stuff. My wife Jess is probably my best critic because she's really harsh as far as like, oh, this doesn't sound like a Wongo record or
Would
uh,
for you, I suppose that's lucky because she has heard your sound for your whole
yeah,
career.
yeah, she's been with me for 10 years, so it's like
Yeah,
yeah, actually that means I've been producing for more than 10 years. I reckon I've been producing for 15 years, but anyway, that's kind of irrelevant. But yes, um, she she is definitely my number one as far as is this a good business decision to release this record? She's great with the business side of it. She'd be like, nah, I don't think this is a good one.
yeah. Have I progressed much from the last track that you've heard me
Yeah, so like
put
my one
together?
after Danger Zone, like the one that comes out in Feb, is like I wrote that track fully from the heart, didn't copy any cunt. Um, it's like 110 BPM, like it's a completely original record for me, and I love it. And Jess doesn't like it. She's like, it doesn't sound like a Wongo record, and I'm just like, but I love it so much. She's like, but you would make more money out of it if you sold it to somebody that suits their career, and and
Yeah,
then
see, that's an interesting conundrum as well, right there. That's something that you're not even really thinking about half the time. Is
no, and you shouldn't, and you can't think about that. Like
mm.
it's that's a terrible thing to think about. And I listen to Jess 99% of the time. This time, I'm saying, no, I'm going to put this one out, which is definitely weird for me. But this will be a test. If it doesn't do well, I'll say, Jess, you were right. Yeah,
But and it's one of those, yeah. Like it's neither here nor there. It could be the track that skyrockets your whole career,
yeah, I
or it
love it.
could just go nowhere.
Yeah, I at the end of the day, my opinion of myself is more important than someone else's.
Yeah, if you, yeah, I think that's a big lesson right there for any producer or any creative is you can have your confidants and the people that you trust to give you opinions
Mm,
that you value, but in the end, your opinion is the one with the highest value,
yeah,
and you should
you
always
should always trust your gut. Always trust your gut. Yeah,
facts.
farts. Trust your farts. Yeah, I mean, do you want anything else you want from me?
Anyone else have any questions? I think we pretty much covered everything, eh? I think that was a pretty good sesh. I'm disappointed we've lost. We should have really thought about that Logic Audio situation, so we could have recorded it and saved
I
it.
know. Well, I actually don't know if I've ever recorded an audio of me playing audio session.
Mm.
I could probably send it to Ableton and record it in Ableton. Yeah, I could have done it. I think there probably was a way to do it.
Mm.
Um,
But we've got some gems
Actually,
in there, mate.
no, shouldn't be through Twitch. Oh, I was gonna say no, it's not gonna be through Twitch because it was just through that link.
Yeah, there's a link. Yeah, otherwise it would be. I didn't think about it either until about 20 minutes in.
Ultimately, you summed it up before. You like it. Fuck what people think. That's exactly right.
And that's like for me that statement there is like why I'm always constantly harping on people. You should just release stuff.
Yeah.
Like if you feel like you're making good music, it's like how many tracks can you like and sit on
Yeah,
that
so
you've
here. So look here. This is another thing. So okay, so oops. What? Hold up. Fuck. Now I'm pressing things. So that one. So just for instance, right? So this is me having fun in the studio for a couple of days. So both these tracks will probably never ever come out. But this is me having fun, writing shit. So, and so I like these records enough to want to release them, but I don't think they are better than my last songs. So there is, even though yes, fuck what people think. I'm trying to argue with myself, which is my best quality. I don't think these records are better than my previous records, so I'm probably not going to release them. So there is a little bit of don't just release anything. Still, as a business decision, release the right records. But I guess it's more important for me than it would be for someone who's just starting to release music.
Yeah,
it's there as much of a benchmark to match.
Yeah, see, that's the issue, and that's the mind fuck that you get into a lot of the time, and the conversations that I get into the most with producers is it's the ball rolling moment. It's not the okay, now I've got these tracks and they're getting better and better and better. What should I release? Should I release them? It's more just the fact of release the first track, so then you have the first benchmark.
You have a benchmark, yeah. Fully.
Not just nothing. So it's like, okay, well, I've released that. Now that's a project, and I can look at it and stand back and go, what was the highs and lows of this?
Yeah.
And do I think I can make better music moving forward?
100%. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I actually want your opinion. So I'm going to play these two records to you, just like I want your opinion if you think they sound like Wongo records, because that'll be the funniest bit, because that's another reason why I'm not releasing them, is because I don't feel like they sound like what people would expect Wongo to sound like. So this was called Cupcakes. This is with a girl in Seattle. So do you think that sounds like a Wongo record?
It has elements of you in there, definitely.
Do you think it sounds like a scary version of Wongo?
No, I think it sounds like a cleaner version.
A cleaner version, okay. And then this one, I actually have to boost it. Oh, this is another one. I love this, but I'll probably never be able to release it because it's just too weird.
Yeah, you couldn't listen to this in the club. You'd be like, you'd hear it come on and be like, can't turn this off.
Hold up, wait for this bit. This is where you really scare everybody off. But yeah. So
this is that one's like deep in, like, someone's house at
it's deep
7 a.m. in the morning. Everyone's in the kitchen.
See, and if I was to release that next, people would be like, fuck, like, people like, or the label would be like, mate, we're trying to fucking sign to Triple J. Like, they're not, Triple J aren't going to play this. Yeah, I don't care what Triple J think. I do care what Triple J think.
Yeah, it's like, I might get played in a Berlin nightclub in a back alley.
Yeah, while getting bum fucked.
Yeah,
with consent.
Is that you know, you've just mentioned Triple J just before we like sign off here. Is that something you've now been looking more towards? Is to start writing a couple of records that you feel,
I
or
don't
have you?
want to. Like,
Yeah,
I actually particularly don't want to write music for a radio station, like a specific radio station. I think that's kind of lame. Um, but what I have fallen in love with is trying to write music that I haven't produced before. So, and because I've been writing club music for 15 years or 10 years or whatever it is. Um, I've actually wanted to start writing music and collaborating with vocalists and writing chord progressions and um, trying to understand song structure, a different song structure than the ones I've done. So what I've kind of naturally done is I've kind of grown into writing some music that is more radio friendly because
yeah,
it's
because like you know, TikTok for example is like definitely, you know, a step away from your
yeah,
usual stuff. It's still you, but it's like it is more radio
it's
friendly.
me just I'll
It's
take the
pop.
Berlin back alley over Triple J. Yeah, same here, mate. Yeah. So exactly. So I write from the heart. TikTok especially was something I've been working on for I worked on the record for 4 years, like version after version after version after version. Um, so yeah, I was kind of I've been growing towards something different. But at the same time, like I wrote this acidy ARP one 3 days ago, so it's like I've still got this in me. But some days I don't want to write fucking 4/4 drums, or some days I don't want to write a 3 minute intro. I just want to write a track that finish by 2 minutes 50. It's done. It's gone.
It's
You know,
cooked.
it's done. You know, like I'm saying about how trying to keep tracks interesting for 6 minutes, like that is actually
Mm.
it is hard. It's not fun. So you know, if writing a pop record that goes verse, chorus, bridge, verse, chorus, blah blah blah, done, it's like it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice to do something different.
And yeah, you can have a lot of club tracks at the moment that, you know, you only need that 2 minutes 50 to. It
But
is. You've
actually,
done it, and you've listened to it, and you're like, that did the job.
but you know, also COVID fucked my love of club music for a long time. Like I've only just started coming back. Like I didn't like club music. I actually got over it. I was like, well, what's the point of me writing hectic
Because
pinger music?
you're out at clubs DJing shit constantly.
Yeah. So when you're playing it and when you're part of it, it's fun. But it's like when I'm sitting at home looking after a newborn baby, it's like I'm not looking to write pinger music. What do you look for in people to collaborate with? What makes you want to collaborate with somebody? That's a very good question. Um, Something I've never heard before. So, which you know, I've got two collabs I've never started, but like the stems are on my computer from some artists that really like shocked me with how cool and unique their music was. Um, and I asked them for stems, but I just never got time to work on them. Vocalists, I work with vocalists who don't sound like every other vocalist. You know, I guess I just like a bit of a weirdo when it comes to trying to find stuff I haven't heard before.
You like the unknown and the unheard more
Yeah,
than anything else.
I wanted what I want is I want to one day write a hit that does really well that everyone said wasn't going to work
Mm.
because no one's like because they're like, oh no, that's not what you're supposed to do. You know, that's a dream of mine. You know how like when someone tells you can't do something and then it makes you work even harder at making it happen because you have to prove that one person wrong.
Yeah.
I'm that guy. I always like fuck. What was his name? We would have partied with him when I was like 18. Do you remember Pringle?
Yeah, Pringle. Yeah.
Yeah, so like great guy, and like these days he's actually a very very good guy. But back in the day, he told me that I'd never make it in my DJ career because I didn't play music for girls. And I remember he even like walked up to me in the booth and like yelled it in my face, and I was just like "fuck you." And like, so that was like the first step towards me being like, "No, cunt, I'm gonna make a career out of myself just to prove you wrong."
Making weird shit.
Yeah, and making stuff that girls don't like
Mm.
purposely. And now look at me now, and now I'm struggling to get a gig. I just did a bar gig, guys. I just did a bar gig. Imagine me playing a bar gig, playing fucking haunting techno.
Oh my god. There's just some, yeah, like you would, you know, even at the start, knowing you from such a young age, you've never really ever wanted to go with the flow.
No,
You've always stuck by the fact that you are different, and you want to be different, and you're not, it's not really with me or against me. It's more like you either love me or you don't care about me. Like it's
yeah,
like there's no middle ground.
and,
It's
and
like you.
And I'm sorry if you've hired me and I've lost dance floors on your watch. Which I'm sure has. I remember I almost got kicked off at Neverland once because I can't remember what I was playing, but Johnny came up to me. He's just like, mate, like Wongo, you got to get off, mate.
It's not like it's not even that. Like it's
I
just
know.
it's great to know someone that's stuck to their guns so heavily and never been swayed by the industry. You've just gone.
And it built me a studio. I built a studio, so no matter what, like one of my goals of working as a musician was to one day build my own studio, and I did it. So I can kind of quit now. I'm gonna go get a job back at Coles again.
Pack some fucking veggies.
Yeah. Fuck,
Um,
you nearly fell in love at Q Super Center,
mate. Let's not talk about me. It's enough. I actually ran into like 3 people over the last like 2 weeks that have all brought up the Hope for Brock saga, and I'm like, guys, I've got a kid now. I'm engaged. Like, leave me alone. That was young Brock. I'm old Brock now.
Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, thanks, man. Thank you so much. I hope everyone got what they needed out of it. I'm gonna go rewatch the recording and try and make some fucking sense of it, and I'll post the whole thing, but I'll cut out just some other stuff.
The best part would be is you opening up Logic and trying to recreate sounds.
I'll just redo it myself. Beep, 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 beep. Fart noise.
That's so fucking funny.
That's definitely not happening.
Yeah, that's all right. I love you, man.
Love you too, buddy. Thank you so much for donating your time to this, and I hope everyone learned something. I know there's some great little bits that I'll share with anyone that didn't get to watch tonight. That just it's a tough world, man. Like that's, as I said to you, like the only conversations I have lately are with people that are beginning the production. Beginning that first year or two of their musical production journey, and just trying to find their way, and they still just are stuck in the world's constraints of what they think should be perfect and the best, and some of the stuff you said here tonight just continues on that journey of just stop listening to fucking everyone and just start releasing stuff when you feel like you love it, and don't worry about what everyone else is thinking.
If you think it's better than what you did before and you want to release it, get it out there. Start your
it's
career.
So easy. Like it's just so easy to release music these days, and fucking man, the amount of record labels I see just signing any fucking track as well. Like you can get signed to a label. Like I could probably go make some garbage right now and I'd get signed to a label. I mean, it's a bit, it's a bit ruthless to say that, but it's definitely, being signed to a label is not the be all end all. It's something you should progress towards. Look for labels. Don't find any label. Find the labels you want to be signed to, that you think you fit into.
Also, a record label is probably not going to just sign you off the bat. These in 2020, sorry, a bigger label. So a bigger label is not going to sign you straight away. But
the ones you want to be on.
The ones you want to be on. But like the smaller label, if they see that you've been on some small labels and you've done some work on your own career and they can see that you're working, then there's more likely they're like, oh look, this guy's going to put in as much effort as we do. It's worth signing the track. But even if the track's good, those bigger labels aren't going to sign it because they're not going to see you. They haven't got proof that you're going to work on the record, that you're going to work it further than just
the thing is a lot of people, and this is a misnomer in the industry, is like signing to a label is going to get your track pushed harder. It's actually not. They're wanting you to push their label.
Yeah exactly.
It's actually completely the opposite. They want your track to do something for their label. So you're sitting there thinking that, oh cool, it's signed to a label, it's going to go massive now. It's actually the other way around. They're sitting there going, they hope it goes massive off the back of you, so then they can make the money off it. And because they're giving you that slight little bit of promotion of like, oh look, it's been signed to Insomniac Records. So then because they want your excitement to be the thing that pushes the track. Yes. You're like, I got signed to Insomniac, check it out, fucking here's all my promo, spend money on it. They're not necessarily gonna ever spend a cent unless it's part of the contract that you've signed. So just be mindful of that.
The only time a record label will put in a lot of effort from the get-go before the track's big
is when they sign a bunch of cats.
is when they I fucking took it right out of took
Sorry,
the
dude.
words
Sorry.
right out of my mouth. I was gonna say.
The only time they spend money
Oh no! So the only
or
time
push it.
they're going to push it before the track's big is if their contract says they have to spend money on it before it comes out,
Hmm.
and then they're like, "Oh fuck! Well, okay, so we've spent money. How do we get the money back?" You know, which happens a lot.
Yeah. So just it's the biggest
But
lesson there is just be mindful of everything. Don't focus on record labels. Focus on yourself.
yeah, keep it simple
Find
and
your
get
groove.
creative. Find your groove. Find your groove.
Jay Delicious. Yeah, that's a perfect man. That's a perfect way to break down the insights tonight. Keep it simple. Get creative.
Keep it simple. Get creative, and don't stress.
Groove.
Don't stress the groove. Just let the groove happen. Let the groove build itself. You know, and it's delete the shit bits. Don't just leave the shit bits in there because you think, oh no, I like that. If it's shit, delete it. Fuck it off. Just next bit in. Less stress.
All
Anyway,
right, man.
all
Good
right.
night.
Love you. Love you. Thank you, everybody.
Love you too, buddy.
Mwah.
Thanks. Again, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in tonight. I really appreciate you guys taking the time. And Wongo, obviously, taking the time to come share his insights with us. Make sure to go give him a follow, man. I've known him since I've been throwing parties since I was 18, and he's been at those parties since he was 18. So we've known each other for a long time, and he's a very passionate guy. That's you know, in his own eyes, probably hasn't made it yet. He's definitely made it, and every year his career progresses even further, and he's always attached to new and interesting records. So if you've got the time and you haven't really checked him out before, I would. He's got some great music out there, and as he said, like he's already got tracks planned for February. I think he's probably got 3 or 4 releases planned already for next year, and that's how his career has gone now. He's constantly got records in the bank ready to go that he's looking to release. So that nothing's going to stop him, and eventually he will be a household name. So definitely one to keep on. Give him a follow. I'll just put up your socials quickly there. Wongo Music. You can check him out down below. There we go. My name is Brock. You can follow us on this channel, Together AU. Together Agency is our agency here on the Gold Coast. We look after Southeast Queensland, DJs and live musicians. Feel free to check us out anytime. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time. We will have Graveyards coming up next, and then Paces in a month after that. I'm not decided on what we're going to talk about just yet, but there'll be more fucking great shit like this going on. I'm going to keep on going deep in the Rolodex and bringing more people on here for you guys to just get out of your production ruts and industry, share more industry insights to get you guys where you need to go. Thanks very much. Have a good night.